Hello there. I was doing a bit where I pretend to read and I didn't hear you come in. I'm Matt, the host and dungeon master of Tabletop Legends, a show where myself and a group of my friends adventure through a world full of mystery, intrigue, and magic as we play 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. We stream live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Proficiency Bonus Twitch channel. If you have time, we'd love for you to join us live. Back episodes and future episodes will be available right here on the Tabletop Legends YouTube channel, with the previous week's episode going up every Monday before the live stream on Twitch on Tuesday evenings. Please, enjoy. Hello! Welcome to Tabletop Legends. I am Matt, I am your Dungeon Master and your host. Thank you for joining us again for tonight's episode. Special episode tonight. You guys know why. Tonight, we set the record for most number of episodes of Tabletop Legends with 5, breaking our previous record of 4. We did it!
5 set.
We did it, guys!
Nothing.
Just a couple more episodes and we should be about done with this, right?
We are now on the road to episode 6.
That's right. Countdown to the new record starts now. So, thank you for joining us tonight. If you are looking for something to do for a couple of hours on the internet that is not getting Endgame or Game of Thrones spoiled for you, welcome.
Hey.
This is a safe place. You can kill the next 3 hours here with us while you wait to go see the movie. I will be seeing it on Thursday. So, chat.
Shut up.
Watch it.
Shut up.
Watch it.
You shut up. I'm also going to go on Thursday. You shut up.
Someone who has seen the movie will have to review the chat. I guess that's probably me then.
I found that Elor dies.
Yes, that's right. Alar dies. So, for tonight's episode, let's get our housekeeping business out of the way. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Streamlabs, the Twitch affiliate program, Many-Sided Dice, and Team Emzy for supporting the Proficiency Bonus streaming network. I would like to thank Tabletop Legends presenting sponsor, the 8th House in Marble Moon Studio. We will hear more about them later in the show. Fun, exciting news, if you have been keeping an eye on some of our social media. We have started putting our back episodes up on YouTube. As of right now, I believe episode 1 and 2 are both up on YouTube that you can go back and watch. Episodes 3 and 4 will go up within the next couple of days. And from here on out, we're going to be on our, basically what will be our normal schedule until the end of time. Monday, the previous week's episode will go up on YouTube and be available for watching before Tuesday at 7, the new episode goes live. So please go search us out on YouTube. We are Tabletop Legends on YouTube. Back episodes can be found there. So if you miss an episode, if you're not able to keep up with the live streams, or if sitting and watching a bunch of people play D&D for 3 hours straight is more than you have the free time for, you can watch at your own leisure. Audio podcast's still on the way, but for now, enjoy the VOD version of the show on YouTube. One final thing, and then we'll get into play tonight. April 30th is the last day of April. It is the last day of Autism Awareness Month. It is the last proficiency bonus stream of our special bit donation event that we've been doing this month. If you have not tuned into any of our shows before, or you have not heard it on any of other proficiency bonus shows, we have been partnering with an organization called the Zephyr Foundation, which is a local organization to us that is a nonprofit that supports people with autism and other developmental disabilities. We're super excited to be pairing with them. We're actually going to be going out to their location within the next week or so, shooting a little video with them out there. And as part of our first stream, we raised a whole bunch of money as part of a donation. We have been accepting all bit donations that Proficiency Bonus receives during the month of April are being lump summed together, and in addition to some other strings we've pulled, cut of the mug sales that we've been doing on Marble Moon and the 8th House's website, maybe a few other odds and ends here and there. We're going to make one lump donation at the end of the month. So stay tuned for that. I will release the numbers as soon as we have them confirmed. But tonight's it. So if you have spare bits laying around and you want to donate, or if you don't and you just want to spread the word, shoot a link to this Twitch channel out there. Tell your friends. Any donations that we receive tonight at Bits gets added to our donation to the Zephyr Foundation. We've already had so much has been given by the community over this month. Surprised the hell out of us, has really blown us away. We're very touched by the support that you guys have showed. The folks over at Zephyr Foundation are moved beyond words that a tiny little streaming community like us was able to really come together and do something good. So, for me, thank you. I'll mention this again before the end of the stream. Donate away if you can. But if not, just thank you for joining us this month as we got to do something cool in addition to play D&D. How you guys feeling tonight? Good?
Feeling jazzed.
Feeling worried.
You're playing? Feeling worried.
Footloose and fancy free.
Lightly restrained.
Well then, let us jump into tonight's... a little lost. Let's jump into tonight's episode. I'll hit you with the recap real quick, and then we will be on our way. So, we rejoin our party tonight as they find themselves in a tenuous predicament. A failed attempt to sneak out of and back into town to investigate the forests to the east, which Inquisitor Liana Highhaven specifically forbade the group to approach, has led to the party being divided once more. Walter and Brom are currently in custody after being apprehended attempting to use illusion magic to trick their way past the guard's patrol route. Alar and the party's newest acquaintance, Elbidi, have been unaccounted for since before dawn as they retreated back into the forest when the group scattered to avoid capture. Osrius and Kel, making use of the diversion provided by Brom and Walter, managed to make it safely back to the Blue Harpy undetected to meet up with Nula and fill her in on what had happened while they were outside the town. The following morning brought a series of progressively more distressing developments. Brom and Walter have been informed that they are to be transported back to the town of Woodpine with the Inquisitor's people when the investigation is concluded, to stand before a magistrate on charges of interfering with royal officials. Kel, Nula, and Osrius were enraged to discover the Inquisitor taking Sexton Barktug Deep Mountain into custody, and the group shared harsh words with Highhaven, where tempers flared and heated accusations of endangering the people of Stone Mill were traded. A rather clear warning was delivered to the trio that any further interference with the investigation would be met with criminal charges, even as the group prepares to circumvent her once more, believing her methods to be unacceptable. Now, we begin mid-afternoon on 8 Leaf Fall, as the trio of Nula, Kel, and Osrius discuss the moral implications of a potential alliance with the opposing group of relic hunters who have been lurking about town, and a proposed team-up to break into the Dwarven Mausoleum behind the temple before the Inquisitor can get to it, as Brom and Walter discuss their options in custody back at the Inquisitor's camp, awaiting transfer to a cell in the town hall. Nula, Kel, and Osrius. We'll start with you.
Who has the golden D20?
You have the golden D20.
Oh.
Brom
Who
has
has
the golden
it?
D20.
I didn't bring that up because I have it. I brought it up because I didn't remember.
I really did not know.
Brom has the golden D20 from last week.
What's a coincidence?
For Jemima Sweet Hips.
Yes.
So you guys are a little ways away from the Mill Street Inn, having just left a meeting with Rogers and the boys. One of the boys who is a girl.
Is a girl.
And they basically, through a rather exhausting, veiled conversation where nobody wanted to admit what they were really up to, seemed to be trying to coerce you guys into coming with them tonight to break into the mausoleum.
I don't like this plan.
What plan? We don't have a plan.
I don't like the plan they proposed.
It's the only plan we got.
Yeah, but I don't like it.
There's a lot of things we don't like to do, but we have to do them.
Have to is a strong word.
Oh, we're not on the table, by the way. We're still on me.
As I was saying, I don't like it.
Oz, what do you want to do? Do you want to break in with them, or do you want to crack their heads open?
Is that a serious question?
I don't know if we can reasonably take them, just the three of us.
Well,
What if we hang back? Let them break into the group.
look,
And what?
we got ourselves involved in some sketchy ideas here. Some of us aren't here, but the whole reason why we're here, I'm pretty sure, is to find what is ever in that crypt. And to have somebody else take it doesn't sound like a good idea to me.
I mean, I think we all agree that we don't want someone else to take it.
Someone else can just do the heavy lifting.
Aren't you a paladin?
I am done.
Here comes our predicament. To break in a mausoleum
So,
with a paladin.
to be clear, just so that I remember the rules for the future, you can't break into the mausoleum, but it's fine for you to step aside and let someone else do it for you.
I'll knock their heads in once we're all set and done.
Got it. Okay. I mean, we could just let them start breaking in and then start shouting for guards.
But then we probably wouldn't be able to get back into a crypt. I say we just go along with it.
That might get us back on their good side. Or back off of their, we will arrest you if we see you again inside.
But then erases the predicament of getting into the crypt later on.
They're still not going to be able to get the Sexton to cooperate with them. Maybe they would listen long enough for us to tell him that he might cooperate with us. Specifically her.
We've tried to do a lot of cooperating in this town, and that hasn't worked out for us.
Well,
Very
either
much.
we find a way to cooperate, or we're going to break in and then have to find a way to fight our way out of town short 4 people.
Are we meeting them?
And a dog.
Are we meeting them at night? Or
It is about midday right now. You are
We're
scheduled to meet
scheduled
them
at
like
midnight.
at midnight.
at midnight?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was 6.
All right.
It's on the bridge.
Yes.
On the bridge.
On the bridge. I say we go for it.
Go for what?
Going with them, getting it, and killing them if we have to.
Or,
I hate
or,
this.
or.
I mean,
Someone
they made
else?
it very clear that they couldn't get in without help.
Or sorry, I started heading towards the bridge.
We don't even need to go there yet.
I'm
We've
waiting.
got like 12
What
hours.
else do I have to do? I'm going to wait by the damn bridge.
Or, wait, another plan.
I turn around in mid-walk. Start walking backwards.
Going off of your plan, where we ask, someone else breaks in, we call for guards, we can then offer to go in and look and make sure nothing was taken.
That's ambitious. So he's gonna go with them no matter what. They needed help. Like if there's not someone to help them, I don't know if they're going to go to the crypt. So maybe we let Oz go with them. We go tell the guards that something's gonna go down, and then Oz either turns on them, or we just let that happen.
Sounds fine to me. Well, still walking backwards.
I'm just picturing Oz moonwalking at this point.
He's got a sequin glove that he
Don't stop till you get it off. Exactly. That's exactly how it is.
I don't like any of these plans.
I think it's a great
Are you
plan.
gonna join him?
No,
Are we gonna fight them ourselves?
Let me go with them. If you
Or-
guys want to stay back, you guys can.
Or do you have another plan for finding more help?
maybe.
We can't try to find Alar. They're off in the woods, and we're not allowed to go near the woods.
But maybe Alar can come to us. Maybe if we just wait at the inn, Alar will come to us.
What's our backup plan?
I give you an answer at 11:30.
I mean, I've got nothing better, so I guess so.
Let's go to the inn. Maybe Alar. I'm assuming once Alar gets out of the woods, he'll come.
That's assuming he's coming back and not just running as far away from this mess as he can possibly get.
Well, we have 11 and a half hours to figure that out. I head back towards the inn.
Okay. Alright. As the trio of you head back towards the Blue Harpy to... Oh wait, or... Two of them and
I'm
Osrius
going
stands
towards
on
the bridge.
Osrius stands on the bridge for the next 12
Nah,
hours.
I'm gonna just sit down next to the bridge there and
Alright.
kick rocks.
So you guys leave Osrius
Sorry,
kicking
waiting.
rocks by the bridge. You head back to the Blue
Tired of
Harpy.
waiting at this place that I said I was gonna wait in.
We move to the other side of town, where in a tent, chained and cuffed to a iron post set into the ground, are Brahm and Walter.
So anyway, I says to the guy, Mind Flayer? I hardly know her.
I wish.
Mind Flayer? I hardly know her.
This is the 5th time you've told that joke.
I'm out of jokes. We've been here too long.
So I think it's about time we take a look outside.
Oh, genius idea. Let me just dislocate my eyeballs and walk them outside.
Just pop my familiar back to my shoulder. Have her kind of like scoot out the back.
So Morgan kind of crow hops.
She's still an owl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Morgan crow hops as an owl off of your off of your shoulder onto the ground and sort of like nuzzles her way, scooches under the canvas of the tent and manages to get outside out of the back. She is currently facing sort of the back portion of the camp, this sort of semicircular area.
Can I get an image of the camp layout again?
Uh,
I'll have her send up, and then technically I'll be able to see the camp layout.
Yeah.
She'll just fly up.
I was gonna print one of these out earlier, and I didn't have time to do it. I will. You know what I will do? I will send you guys via text the image. So basically, as she flies up, she sees the camp in the kind of the similar layout as before. The most prominent thing that she notices is that towards the entrance to the camp, there appears to be some commotion as a group of individuals have gathered around the main kind of pathway that the guards have created to get into the town, into the camp, and they are alright, I'm sending you this now.
Here in my camp. In this camp.
Appears to be maybe 24 townspeople have gathered.
Oh, damn.
And they're kind of clustered around this area. There are 3 of the Mythlindian Home Guard there are kind of standing in front of the main entrance into their camp. And it seems like from her height up there, she's flying, like the this gathered group of people and the home guard are like exchanging words with one another. There is another individual behind where the the 3 guards have like established their kind of perimeter. So these 3 guards are between the people and this other set. It is another guard and a dwarven-sized figure.
I'm gonna just look through her senses and then try to land in the nearest like perch that a bird could reasonably. I'm pretty sure there's trees within a couple dozen feet.
Yeah.
Hopefully, should be close enough to kind of listen in. So there's 3 guards up front, and then a miscellaneous dwarven-shaped dude and another person.
Mm-hmm.
And then another person with a crown.
What?
No. I'm just labeling them for mental imagery purposes.
Nobody has a crown. I'm just. Is
No,
I was like, I didn't say crown, right?
It's just a symbol.
Gotcha.
So it's a single line and then a plus and then a crown.
Okay.
Or squiggle.
The inner workings of Jason's mind.
The machinations of my mind.
All right, that took forever as I was trying to do it while still narrating, but here comes the link to the image of the town. Go ahead and make a perception check. Yeah, it should be coming through on your phones. Make a perception check for Morgan.
Let me double check her stats. If I'm using my senses, does it use my modifiers?
Uses hers.
Okay.
I believe as an owl you get advantage on sight-based perception checks.
For creatures for the owl. Passive perception 13. Keen hearing and sight has advantage on wisdom perception checks that rely on hearing or sight. Yes. Great. Hey, Oz, can I borrow one of those d20s I gave you like 10 minutes ago? Great. It is a 20.
20.
19 plus 1, so
All right.
not a net 20.
So Morgan lands in a nearby tree branch, inconspicuous as an owl, and you project your senses forward out of the tent and into her, looking through her eyes and hearing through her ears. You are quickly able to recognize the dwarven figure that the one guard is kind of standing a ways back with, as they both kind of look back towards where the crowd is gathered, as Sexton Bartug Deep Mountain. The 3 home guard that are stationed sort of at the front of the camp. One of them you recognize as Abner, one of the individuals you met on your very first trek in here.
Okay.
One of them is Michael, who is the guard that punched Brom last night, and Brom burned his hand. And the third is a female that you do not know the name of. The crowd is sort of milling about, kind of restlessly, a little bit. You get a little bit of a aggressive vibe coming off of them, and they seem to be, with no particular cohesion, just kind of like jabbering amongst themselves and at these guards. And you catch snippets of phrases like, "What's the Inquisitor gonna do now that she's taken him? If he's the key to all this, what's the plan? Where's the little girl?" Clearly, this crowd has come. It seems, from what you can see, it seems like the Sexton has been arrested for something. And the crowd seems to have gathered, believing that the Inquisitor has taken him into custody as the culprit of these murders and disappearances, and are riled up, wanting to know, like, what's going on? What is she going to do? Like, what's the answer to all of this?
Right. As soon as I can't tell that they're just doing more than arguing, I'm going to flip back and relay as much to Brom, I guess. There's a crowd out front, and they seem to have arrested the sexton. If he's coming in here, I don't see the rest of our group. It might be a good opportunity to use the chaos to escape now, or do you think we should wait and see if we can talk to him when he's in here with us?
I think if they got a crowd out there, they're gonna be super on guard right now. You know, because they're looking out.
That's
So
a
I
fair
think maybe we wait till like maybe the cover of darkness. Maybe see if we can talk to this guy and then let's get the hell out of here.
All right, I'll keep an eye out and see if I can have my familiar tell me where they take him.
So you guys continue to converse. Shortly after you kind of see all of this through Morgan, the sounds raise to a level of which you're able to hear it from where you are within the tent. Not as distinctly as Morgan, who's much closer, but Brahm and Walter, when you're listening through your own ears, you hear sort of the rabble of this crowd becoming sort of riled up, and the occasional shout of something along the lines of like, "Do something about it now! The little girl's still missing! There's people dead!" Stuff like that. You do at one point, a few minutes after your initial exchange there, you hear the voice of the Inquisitor herself begin to like call back into the crowd, giving orders to like disperse, orders to desist, that the situation's under control, things like that. Clearly trying to diffuse this like mob that's beginning to form. They do bring the sexton into your tent.
Oh, convenient.
In about 5 or so minutes later, an individual who you guys are familiar, Lieutenant Cross, who you guys are familiar because you were interacting with him earlier. Lieutenant Cross brings in the sexton, who is not shackled in any way, but as you know of him, he's fairly elderly. And pretty arthritic, so he's not really running anywhere too fast. He seems to be cooperating in the most part. So the lieutenant pulls back the tent flap and sort of gestures him in, and kind of looks to Sexton and to you guys as well, and says, "Right, sit tight here. The Inquisitor needs to deal with some dissatisfied townsfolk, and we'll be moving you to the town hall for a safer location to keep everyone from getting a little out of hand. So hold tight."
All of us, or just him?
All 3 of you.
I'll jiggle my chains, like, can't go anywhere, bud, but thanks.
That's right. Well, we'll be back for you shortly as soon as we disperse this crowd. And he turns, closes the tent flap again, and waits. Alright, walks away. You hear him, like, the footsteps walk. You do hear and just see the outline of another guard takes up position outside the front of the tent. And the sexton, for his part, kind of comes over in your guys' general direction, and he sits down on the ground with a great effort. Oh yeah. They couldn't have given me a dumb stool or anything, lads. No respect for the elder ladies. What did you do? Piss off the Inquisitor, eh?
You can say that.
Can I make an attempt to mold earth him a little chair? The problem is it's somatic only, and I'm restrained.
Okay. Roll a d20 with your dexterity modifier.
And that 20 plus 2.
All right.
Just subtle chair, not
So
like
even-
not like a throne of bird like arises out.
It's like
It's
like
like
be prepared from Lion King.
Is there a cup holder?
There are not only cup holders, but there is full velvet plush cushioning mysteriously out of nowhere.
Rich Corinthian leather.
Yeah.
Just
Even
a nice
kind of
little-
restrained, you focus and you manage to like lift a little kind of lump of earth, so at least he's not sitting flat on the ground. Just kind of below him, you're like, oh, thank you kindly, lad.
Alrighty, you made a chair. Whoop-de-doo.
You're just upset because your arse is on the ground.
I may be a little salty.
It's kind of like you hear his bones kind of like as he crunches.
Gross.
He says, hey, when you get to be my age, you'll make gross noises when you move to.
Okay, so we're gonna be transferred out of here, so I think change of plans. I think we gotta get out of here now.
I don't disagree.
You lads are trying to bust out then.
And I turn to the sexton and in Dwarvish, I tell him, like, I know we meant to meet with you overnight, but we found your kin. They're long dead, but they've been walking around. I think that's why people have been seeing dwarves.
Are you telling me that someone's practicing necromancy on my ancestors?
Unfortunately, we have the severed head of one. I buried the rest.
He kind of like spits on the ground.
I buried the rest of their remains and the best of my ability.
No wonder Highhaven's so briled up.
In common, tell Brom. I'm telling him about the zombies.
Okay. I don't know why you didn't just tell him in common.
I don't want the guard overhearing this nonsense.
But then you just told me. Never mind. All right, let's get out of here.
Well, I won't give you up, but these old bones are not meant for running. I'm already in enough trouble as it is. If you're looking to break out of here, I think I'll just await the guard. They don't like to hurt me. I've got no involvement in this. They can only hold me for so long.
In Dwarvish again, I think either the mausoleum has been compromised already, or there's another burial site nearby, but they have to have been getting these bodies from somewhere. Do you know of any other way in, or any way to get into that mausoleum that maybe you haven't?
Oh, I know how to get into the mausoleum, but I'm not letting the Inquisitor in there.
We're not asking you to let the Inquisitor in there.
Yeah, in common again. Yeah, we are not working with or for the Inquisitor.
Clearly.
just like
He kind of, clearly. Well, though I am loath to see a burial site of my people disturbed, if what you say is true, and there are undead walking around, the bodies laid to rest of my people being disturbed, perhaps, so long as the elf does not set foot in the sacred places of my people, there is something that can be done. And right as he says this, from outside, you hear a slight commotion begins to take place. There is a shout from the guard who is standing outside of the tent, and he says, "Hey, you're not to be within this camp. Turn around and leave him." And there's like a dull, thud, as if he's been clubbed with something. And a moment later, the tent flap is flung aside, and you are staring face to face with three individuals wearing rough, makeshift, almost executioner hoods with eye holes cut out. And one in the lead points right at the sexton. He says, "There he is! Get him now and all this can be over! Come on!" And go ahead and roll initiative as these three dudes... Echo, roll initiative.
Mine's not better.
One's short.
6.
Mine was a 4.
Yeah. Hold up.
They could roll really crappy. You know
It was a
this.
7.
They didn't, but
It's
they could
okay.
have.
They didn't, but it's all right.
What do you guys got?
7.
7
8.
and 8. Okay. Walter.
Both still handcuffed.
All right. So the first of these individuals rush forward. The one who had called out and dives straight towards the sexton and goes to grab him and start to haul him up. So he's going to try and grapple, contesting the sexton. So, for the time being, he goes to grab the sexton, and with surprising spryness for his age and creakiness, the sexton kind of like rolls to the side off of the little chair mound that you had made for him, and the slight hump of earth that is there provides enough of like a blockage that this individual, as they rush towards him, can't quite like grab him up as he's rushing forward. The individual kind of lets out a curse as he tries to grab him, and he sort of, it's like you hear this snarl from beneath the hood, as he says, "You false holy man! We trusted you! That little girl's blood is on your hands!" And the two other thugs just are like at the door. They both have, so the one who rushed forward has like a makeshift club from just like a piece of wood. The other one has a similar sort of, looks like a heavy type of dowel of some sort, and the third is carrying what appears to just be like a basic farming scythe. The two of them wait by the, just like wait by the door to see what is gonna come of this. And that brings us to Walter. You are up.
First, I'll tell them, you don't have to do this. Just leave him be until this investigation is over.
The sexton, as he's like continuing to sort of scramble away, he says, "Oh, you lads, you're making a mistake." And he kind of turns to you and he says, "Look, we can work this out. Just nobody needs to get killed, all right?" He seems to be scrambling back, trying to kind of calm things down as well. The three don't seem to give any indication immediately of heeding that. Is there anything else you're doing on your turn?
Yes, there are 2 things I'm doing on my turn.
Okay.
Since they don't seem to be reacting to me at all, I'm going to bonus action, Misty Step,
Okay.
out of my shackles and
Yep.
standing in the tent. And then I'm going to Chill Touch, the one that tried to, no, sorry, not that one. Frostbite, the one that's right in front of me,
Okay.
that tried to tackle the sexton.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't require anything but verbal somatic.
You're out of
he just
your...
has to
Oh,
make
you
a-
don't have to. That's right, you don't have to.
Yeah, I don't have anything, but it only requires verbal and somatic.
That's fine,
There's
you
no
get
tiers. He just has to make a DC 13 save, con save.
That's a natural 11 plus 0, so he fails.
He takes 1d6 cold damage
Okay.
and has disadvantage on the next weapon attack and makes before the end of his turn. 5 damage.
5 damage. Okay. And this was what?
Frostbite.
Frostbite. So Walter basically just like dematerializes in this like cloud of vapor, only to like re-solidify again about a half a foot from where he was standing out of his shackles. His arms free enough that he's able to cast this like burst of cold energy out of his, like the palm of his hand, which just rushes forward as this individual makes another lunge towards the sexton and strikes him center mass in the chest as he gives out this horrible, like, and ice just crawls up his chest and his neck and over his torso, and he, like, has enough time. He clutches his chest and then just collapses to the ground, unmoving. Braun.
Compliance.
Comply.
Please comply.
The thing that I'm handcuffed to, what's it like? Just like a metal pole?
It's like a metal pole that they, like, hammered into the ground that you have, like, a chain leading from it to you. There's, like, a chain around your waist. It has dual chains to, like, your arms and your feet. So you have the ability to kind of, like, move your arms and shuffle around a little bit, but you can't really, like, can't get your arms any further apart than, maybe here. And, right, that's your range of motion.
Okay. I am going to... Would heating the metal and then trying to break free be two actions or one?
That would be 2 actions.
Okay. So,
You would burn yourself.
Well, the heat, not the
Oh, I see.
pole.
It would, yeah, but it would be 2 actions.
I'm going to just attempt to break away.
Okay. Make a strength check. Okay. What is your strength modifier?
Plus 0. So
+0. Okay.
Just
Just enough. The golden D20. Had you had a -1 modifier, you were screwed.
Yep, that's why I checked.
So with the golden D20, so with a strength check of 20, you just like, and you wrench. Your hands are still like bound to your waist, and your legs are still chained together, but you manage to like unpin them from each other and get off of the post in the ground. So moving is not really a huge option for you, but you can at least like fight and defend yourself if you have to. Anything else would be your turn. That would be your action.
I'm going to say, alright, after probably scaring the poop out of some people, breaking out of chains, alright, everybody just calm down. We can talk this out, and I don't have to beat anybody's face in.
Alright. Make an intimidation roll.
Well, it was a nat 1, but I had a +7 in
alright.
intimidation. So 8.
As you stand up, you shit yourself.
Way to go, big guy.
Alright, so Bartug for his turn kind of just continues to like push himself further away from the attackers and towards you guys. As the one that you like frostbite keels over, he lets out sort of like a dismayed kind of like, let's please, we don't have to do this. And that's all he does on his turn. Which brings
So
us.
he's pleading. He's the one pleading?
He's like to everybody. He's like, please, like, nobody kill anybody for the love of the gods.
Okay, so Bartog's not saying that, it's the other guy.
No, Bartug is saying that, like, he's like scooting away from them, kind of trying to get them to stop, like telling you guys, like, don't kill them. We don't, like, no one has to die.
Got it.
He's just trying to diffuse the whole situation. He clearly does not want violence.
Okay.
Is that guy dead, though?
He looks pretty dead.
Way to go,
He
buddy.
looks a little dead.
Can he have death saving throws, please?
Oh, I made a boo-boo.
Is he wearing any metal I can...
And falling out a little.
A little bonfire of this corpse.
One killed the dinosaurs. The Ice Age.
Okay, so
And Walter.
the 2 remaining thugs. One of them, you kind of see. He sees his buddy go down, and he sees Braum like out of these chains. And he looks. You see him look at the sextant for a moment. He can. and he turns and throws down his like farming scythe and turns to run. The other one, however, hesitates for a second, but you hear through like gritted teeth under his hood. He says, "No, I have to do this for the safety of the town!" And he rushes forward and like swings this club at the sexton. He manages only to like crack the club into like the sexton's like shin as it continues to like scoot away from him. But it does let out this resounding like, and Bartug goes like, "Ugh! Damn it! We don't have to do this, please!" But he seems like to have steeled his resolve. Like he's gotta do this. He thinks what he's doing is right. Alright, so that's that's the thugs. At this point, from outside, you hear the sound of the receding footsteps of that first like attacker, heavily like thump 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 thump. And a moment later, there's like a loud like kang, and you hear a body like poof, hit the ground. And the voice of the Inquisitor rings out, and she says, "Secure the tent! I've got this one!" And two guards, one like draws back the curtain, and the other one like moves into the doorway, both with their swords drawn, quickly beginning to assess the situation. Which brings us to Walter.
I'm going to attempt to cast Spare the Dying on the one that I accidentally murderated.
Sure.
Roll
a...
So it's, you touch a living creature that has 0 hit points, the creature becomes stable. It has no effect on undead or constructs.
Roll a d20, as he's like, he's not a player character with like death saves. Roll a d20.
Just 12.
12? Okay. So you...
It doesn't give him hit points, it just...
No, I know. Basically what I was having you roll for is like, technically is he's like, he's not a player character, like would technically already be dead, but we're gonna let you use your ability for, house rule that.
Alright.
Basically, that's what the roll was for, to see whether you're successful or not. And you do like, throw yourself down forward onto your knees in front of this guy, and you basically reach one hand back, and there's this like charge of necrotic energy in your hand that you then thrust down into the like frozen chest, exactly like that.
It's like
there's just like a poof as this necrotic energy pulses through this body, and there's one great like heave, and you hear from beneath the hood.
It's like a holy shit.
I like jammed his soul back into his body. It's
Pretty
like,
much.
Cut it!
Pretty much.
Not today.
What do we tell the god of death? Not today.
All right. Anything else for your
That's,
turn?
no, that's all I'm able to... I'll yell at the other guys, like, I'm not trying to hurt you guys, but you're making a mistake.
I didn't do it.
Right. Brom, what are you doing with your turn? So there's one guy who's like trying to scramble over that little chair that Walter made to like brain the
How
sexton.
close is the sexton to me? Is he?
You're in like a tent.
So
You guys are all like you guys are all
reach him?
physically within like touching distance of each other.
Oh, even the bad guy?
Pretty much.
So I'm just gonna reach out
Wow.
and grab his club and try and like choke all them with his own club.
Make a roll a
Sleight of hand.
No.
Damn it.
Like a melee touch attack, basically. So like a d20 plus your... Let's make it a d20 plus your dexterity modifier. No proficiencies. It's like an improvised attack.
That would be 14.
Okay, so you do manage to basically, as this guy's like using his one arm to like heft himself over, and he's holding the club off closer to your side, You manage to reach out and you grab his arm and wrench the club around, breaking it free out of his grasp and like spinning it around and just pulling it up under his chin as he gets like a starts clawing at it as he is restrained by you.
Yeah, and I'm holding it enough to keep
Yeah,
it
yeah.
there, but not like choking it to death.
Okay.
Should everybody just calm down?
All right. So Bartug, for his part, does nothing except like clutch at his smashed leg, kind of letting out like slightly. And all three thugs are currently appear to be neutralized. Anything else you guys are doing?
And we definitely didn't accidentally murder anybody. Big winks. No, I'm just gonna make sure that the one is. I'll take his mask off.
The one that you.
Yeah. Just
Okay.
take his mask off and just kind of like pin him with my leg.
Old man Jenkins. No.
Scrappy too.
Echo. Combat over.
Sorry.
No! How embarrassing! Echo. Combat over.
Hooray.
Well, we almost have red lights for the rest of the session. Okay, so the two guards rush in and kind of like jump to your side and grab either one of this guy's arms and begin to like wrestle him away. You see through the tent flap, the Inquisitor basically has her like boot pressed into the back of the guy who tried to run as he's on the ground, and she just has her long sword out and is like pointed directly at the back of his head. And Walter, you pull the mask off of the one that you freezer burned to reveal a face that you are familiar with. The individual who you paid gold to give you information and then got in sort of a fight with in the bar, Jennings.
Oh, it was Jennings.
Ken Jennings.
Jennings is close to Jenkins.
He kind of like, he's sort of staring like confused, dazed as he just got like he was toddling off the mortal coil and just kind of like slammed back into his body. So
All
he
of his
doesn't-
ancestors were like, "Come to us, Ken, come."
Come to the great farm.
Then he got
He
slammed
seems
fisted
a
back
little,
into his
he's a little
body.
dazed. He doesn't seem really aware of his surroundings currently, but you immediately recognize him from your previous encounter.
Darn these human supremacists.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna look up at the Inquisitor and say, we've been complying.
I'm gonna like look down at like the broken handcuffs. I'm like, that was broken when I got here.
I'm sorry,
Like you're broken out. I'm just they're just not on me anymore. It's just like we're still in the tent. It's
The
fine.
Inquisitor, from her position, pinning the one down, kind of looks at the both of you, and you see this like expression cross over her face, and she just goes like, and we will switch scenes back to the Blue Harpy, where Kel and Nula are have been hanging out for better part of an hour or so at this point, and the doors swing open, and in walks fairly dirty, tired and bedraggled looking Alar, toting behind him, looking much the same as the previous night, and not particularly as if any sort of ordeal has occurred that has bothered her. Albini.
He's gonna march over into the bar. A cool ale, a hot meal, please. Then sit down where they have like.
And Ollie kind of looks at you. Had a night.
You can sit.
Amber and fetches you the ale.
Well, he sits down.
And
So
snaps towards one of his staff to go and fetch you food.
Wenches.
I'm going to run over.
Okay.
Be like, Alar, you're alive! And like give him a big hug.
I feel like it's when
Almost crushing his body.
it's one of those ESPN jacked up things. He's just he's reaching for.
Just off scene all of a sudden.
And then I look down, Papa!
He's going to reach out very carefully, still, mostly dragon hugged. He's just going to pat LBD on the head.
When did we get a puppy? What are we gonna name it? Oh my god, what are we gonna name it? Can we keep it?
Her name is LBD. Please get off me.
Oh, sorry.
Thank
I just drop him.
Oh. He has 5 hit points, by the way. He didn't get a chance to.
It's 4 now.
Yeah,
So you do have 4 now.
He lost 1 when he got tackled. He lost another when he got dropped. He's just he just climbs up heavily back into
Male.
What have you guys been doing while I've been gone?
Let's start with what you've been doing, because you'll be much less upset going through that.
Alright, so this is gonna upset me. First, let me eat. Then, we'll talk. So he takes, 15 minutes after the food arrives. We'll sit down, ask for a little thing of
dish of water.
a dish of water and some meat for LBD. Then he'll head over to an empty part of the bar, sit down and go, okay. Well, when things went crazy, you all scattered. I did the smart thing. Instead of trying to get back into town on the east side, I went all the way around to the west side. If you never go for a strong point if you don't have to. Always go as far away from that point as you can.
That's smart.
It's not my first roundup. Also, it helps having a second pair of eyes. And he once again scritches LBD behind the ears. So, where are the other 3?
Brom and Walter are in jail.
Let's start there. They got captured.
And Osrius is waiting on the bridge to team up with the other relic hunters to break into the crypt.
I didn't like that plan.
They're going to break into the crypt.
Well, we tried to go talk to the sexton and tell him what was going on to see if he would let us into the crypt, but the Inquisitor arrested him.
Okay. Alright. And we don't have a whole lot. When are they going to try?
Tonight.
We don't have a whole lot of time then.
We do not.
Okay.
The way I see it, we can actually team up with them, which I don't like. We can try to help them enough to let them get in, and then either alert the guards or take them out ourselves.
Risky.
Or we can try to tell the guards ahead of time that we have been approached with an offer, and then see if they'll give us enough space to talk to the sexton and see what we can do. None of them sound particularly exciting to me.
No, none of them sound very good to me either. Alright,
I mean, are there any bridges in this town that we haven't burned?
well, we haven't pissed off the sheriff yet, but give us time. What did you do?
No, I don't know that happened. I don't know that you guys threw him under the bus.
Nope, I don't know that.
It's more of a gentle push.
Okay, first things first.
We could definitely go ask the sheriff for help. I'm sure he'll be happy to see us.
No, I don't want to get him in trouble with the Lithuanian Home Guard. Okay. We need to get into that crypt. We need to do it before.
The Inquisitor is never going to want to talk to us again. If we want to interact with the guards, we should go find Michael.
He's not going to risk crossing the Inquisitor.
And but as you say that, the door to the Blue Harpy opens up, and 3 home guards walk in, Michael, trailing behind him, Liam and Abner, who scan, see you, and like walk right over to you guys. As if you summoned them from the ether.
So they make eye contact, and I immediately just drop off my chair under the table.
Alar has his back to that door. He hears the door slam open. He just starts drinking the this is going to be the last one for a while.
The three of them walk up to you. You see Michael has one of his his armored gauntlets is currently removed, and his hand is like wrapped in a bandage. And he kind of nods to the group of you, and Abner from behind him, sort of to his like off to his right, says, "The Inquisitor has asked that the group of you come to the town hall."
Immediately, I presume? Alright.
Probably in all of our best interest.
Are we being charged with anything?
No, not to my knowledge.
Right then. Alar's going to pick up his bag. He's going to look down at LBD. I just kind of give you a look of...
Should I go down and like see Osrius and tell him what's going on? I'll just like whisper that to you.
He's going to get the... it's a pop.
Yeah, come find us. Alright.
Off you go.
Okay.
So you lot are heading off in the direction of town hall?
Yep.
Okay. So you guys...
Before-
Can we?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask what's prompting the Inquisitor to look for us? She was pretty emphatic in her.
Michael, who you see is looking rather tired, kind of gives like a there's been an incident.
Is that why your hand's bandaged? Or I hope you're not badly hurt.
No, that was the first incident.
Oh, multiples.
He means Brahm.
Your friends are at the town hall.
Do you
Regards them. Everyone is well. It is better if you hear all of this from the Inquisitor herself.
Please,
do
Leah.
you need healing in your hand?
He kind of waves you off. It's a minor burn. It's fine.
Alar kind of raises his hand. I could use some.
May I heal him?
Alar keeps his hands...
You are free to do anything you wish. You're under no...
I heal. Let's just say 5 because we may need them later.
Thanks. That is...
He already needs them now.
he needs to not die immediately.
That gets me up to 10, so that's better than nothing. And if there's time, Alar will probably spend part of the conversation taking the equivalent of the short rest, and yeah.
That's fine. Okay. Anything else?
Oh, I do have spells.
Well, episode 5, I do have spells.
I think that's the quote of the night, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. So,
No. Okay.
Michael and Liam and Abner kind of look to you guys, and Michael says, "Is there anything else?" Or
No, lead on, please.
right.
So while we're walking, I will fill in Alar with why the Inquisitor did not want to see us anymore.
Scene pulls back from the town, very loudly, voiceover Alar.
What? And Kel basically tells you of the shouting match that he and the Inquisitor had with each other, where she accused them of endangering the town with their stunts, And he accused her of endangering the town with mishandling her investigation and doing nothing to quell the unrest of the people. Okay, so at a certain point, you guys branch off as you head towards the town hall at the northern tip of the town against the cliff face, and LBD peels off to go and find Osrius by the bridge. So, take it away, LBD.
I'm just gonna go find Osrius and tell him that the Inquisitor is summoning you guys for some reason. See if he wants to join, I guess.
There's like a patch like 3 feet around Osrius where like all the small rocks and like dandelions and sticks and things have been like collected up and thrown into the area.
Imagine there's some like village children there just saying like that. Go and touch him.
I dare you. Go on.
We could probably have him, yeah. Do they really need me there?
They didn't really say, but it seems like they wanted everyone from the party.
I guess this is fine. I just get up and be like, let's go.
Off you guys go. Across town, the slight slope up to the town hall. The group of you gather out front of the building as Michael, Liam, and Abner bring you up. You see that Sheriff Maddock is standing outside the building, kind of waiting. As he sees you come up, he nods, exchanges a few words with the guards, and says, "They're inside. She said to go right in whenever you guys got back. And, I don't... Oh, there he is." He points as Osrius comes lumbering up the hill behind you guys, bringing the whole group back together.
Are we there too?
You are not outside.
Okay.
But Sheriff kind of gestures at the door, and Liam and Abner kind of exchange a glance with one another, and Michael gives you guys a gesture. Says, "Go on, she's inside."
Taylor nods at him, nods at the sheriff, heads in, still holding the bag.
So you guys enter into that main kind of meeting area of the town hall that you had seen before, and a number of the seating benches and things have been kind of pushed aside to create a little bit of a clear space. And within the room are the Inquisitor, a young woman who you guys do not recognize, but is not wearing the dress. Home guard is dressed more similarly to the sheriff. A pair of home guards, one of whom you guys recognize as Lieutenant Cross, and a female who you guys are not familiar with at this time.
Is it the same one I saw earlier?
Yes.
But I'm not familiar with?
Yes.
Okay.
As well as Brahm and Alar.
Yeah.
Walter.
Brahm and Walter. Alar's with you guys.
Well, you're disguised as Alar for no reason.
Brahm and Walter standing
Out of
unchained, just with the Inquisitor
Oh, shit.
and her people. The Inquisitor is there. She is presently like the far side of the room against a table that is up against that sort of high rise where like a meeting would take place, looking over a bunch of paperwork, things like that. She doesn't immediately address you guys as you come in, and you kind of walk up and reconvene with your two party members.
What's up, guys?
You're clearly all still alive. Thank goodness.
Yeah, you're not locked up anymore. That's good too.
Don't mention that part.
Taylor's going to sit down on one of the benches because he's still fairly tired.
It was a fun time. We got chained up, then they brought Dwarfy McDwarfface in here. He tried to kill him.
Whoa. Who tried to kill the sexton?
Oh, we'll get to that.
Where is the sexton?
Is he?
You saw them take him down below to where the your previous conversation with the sheriff informed you the the cells are.
They took him down to the cells. So yeah, a guy tried to kill him. I Hulkamania'd out of my cuffs. Saved everybody's lives. It was great.
It's true. You should have seen it.
I'm
Sight to behold.
I'm sure it was. I roll insight. Let me see.
I mean, it did happen.
Roll a persuasion or a deception. You don't have to tell us which one you're rolling.
16 is the mark. I'm sure you're likely going to beat me.
It was persuasion or deception?
Whichever one you want. You don't have to tell us which though.
Yeah.
You just gotta tell us what the number
That
is.
would be, and well, either one of them is higher than his. So.
Okay, then I'm like, huh.
Brahm is awesome.
He's so cool.
Alar just kind of blinks tired, like, huh.
Do we have our stuff back, or are we still just?
Currently, you have not been rearmed at this time. But
So
you
I can't dancing lights like to make spotlights.
You were brought over here free of chains.
All right.
They have yet to return to your equipment team.
But I'm gonna be like, and then minor illusion, like a ding.
Do you know who the rest of these people are?
They're people.
You're not wrong.
I've seen the one.
That's.
There's a couple I don't recognize.
When did you see her?
Magician never discloses their secrets.
Right, let's.
You're a magician now. He specializes
So
in
we'll have to
shovel
get around to the
magic.
introductions. All right.
Right, let's.
Let's find out why we're here.
Yeah. Whenever she's ready.
Yeah, it is at this point the Inquisitor Highhaven kind of turns away from what she was doing and walks over, joining the circle.
Alar will stand up, tiredly, but yeah, stand up.
She looks around to the group of you, and there is this sort of expression on her face of infinite weariness as she lets out this sort of resolved. There was an incident. A group of townspeople gathered together and convened on our camp. It was all we could do to keep them from forming a mob. Meanwhile, an attempt was made on the Sexton's life. Thwarted, in no small part due to the actions of your compatriots.
I'll be damned, you actually did save somebody's life.
What did they say?
She kind of
But he got his sweet chokehold too.
she sort of rolls her head and she's
Sorry.
These events have caused me to reflect on the things that you said to me, young gnome. It has forced me to consider that perhaps I have been overly rigid in my pursuit of proper protocol, and that the situation at hand has grown dire enough that flexibility is necessary for the greater good of the people of this town. I owe all of you an apology. And she looks as if this has caused her physical pain to say to you.
Alar's gonna blink a few times. Okay.
Elvish. Apology accepted.
In the interest of full cooperation, we did discover something. If you are aware of this, great. If you are not aware of this, it may be of some use. In encountering one of the undead, and he holds up the bag, at the head of one of them here, we discovered that they appear to be attracted to magic.
Indeed. Your compatriot, she points to Brom, alluded to as much in a previous discussion I had had.
Excellent.
We were, however, unaware of this before.
Okay. I suspect that the young child may have had some magical talent, or unknowingly, or even knowingly, may have had a small magical trinket that may have attracted the undead creature to capture her. I'm hoping, despite the long time since the capture, that whoever the undead creature brought them to, because somebody has to be raising them, she may still be alive.
Sound enough theory.
I also on this. Hold out the orange feather.
She looks at it a little confused. Turns to the woman who is not of the home guard. Deputy Nell, is this of any familiarity to you? And the deputy looks at it and she says, no, I know it just looks like a feather, but maybe one of the woodsmen would know a little better, who are more familiar with the wilds around here. You could show it to one of them.
All right, I think it might be related to a magic ritual, but I'm not sure. It could also be a bird that's indigenous to this area. If so, maybe one of the woods people will help us by being able to identify it.
She turns again to kind of like address the group. She says, as I was saying, it does seem that the group of you have been able to uncover some avenues of this investigation that I missed. I likewise have information that I believe you lack. The words of our young gnomish friend and the good Lady Dragonborn ring true. The people of this town are growing paranoid and restless. The group of guards that I have with me are loyal, and they are fine soldiers, but there are not enough of us. And I fear there is little enough time to send for more reinforcements, so I will perhaps do what, had I had the sense to do in the first place, I would have done 2 days ago. I will, should you be willing to forgive my attitude towards you and work with me, extend an offer to conscript the group of you into my investigation and allow you to have full access to all of the information that we've gathered and an equal part in trying to put whatever this is to rest for the sake of the people of this town. That, above all else, is what is important to me.
Then we are in agreement.
One condition. We would like to keep any items we locate, and we will remove them from the town.
That is a rather large condition. If at the end of this sorted trail there is an item which is responsible for such chaos, I am quite unable to bend on the necessity that it be committed into the custody of the Middle Indian Army for safe disposal.
We may want to work quickly on that. There seems to be other relic hunters who are looking for similar items.
I had heard reports that there were a small group of 3 asking pointed questions in the area, but they had, for the most part, steered clear of my men. You say there is an imminent danger posed by these individuals?
Why don't we make a deal? We will assist you in ending this crisis if we can keep what we find and remove it from the town for the safety's sake. You will get full credit, no mention of us to anyone. None of us will take credit for assisting the town, and we will give you the other hunters to
Make
take home.
make a persuasion roll.
Maximum proficiency.
Yeah. 23?
I was about to
22.
inspiration him, but then he didn't get it.
It's 22. Yes.
She, for a moment, you see like a flicker of irritation cross her face, reminiscent of the, like the rage that you instilled in her when you were being difficult about the map before. But she kind of like, I am not interested in credit or accolades. If there is an item at the end of all this that is capable of raising undead and setting them upon innocent villagers, I cannot simply hand that off to a group of, pardon me, but strangers.
No, that's...
Well-intentioned as you may be, it is fully outside of the realm of my authority.
Yeah. I fully understand. You must do your duty, and above all, your duty is to ensure the safety of both this town and Mithlande as a whole, as to the best of your ability.
Would you not agree that the person or persons using this would be better to apprehend if it is an item causing this issue?
Oh, undoubtedly, we must bring to justice the culprit, but that does not mean that I can simply let the item in question walk if we discover it.
Walter.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there. We don't even know if there is an item.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Walter, she must do her duty. We want to help these people. Let's move forward. Harsh words were said. Apologies had been made, and we apologize for causing havoc with your investigation. I think we both want the same thing. We just went about in very different ways, and we rubbed each other very much the wrong way. And for that, at least I myself.
It is in the past. I was likewise inflexible.
Consider it dropped.
Do you have information on the girl?
Her whereabouts, no. We have some information that I do not believe you have come across at our camp, but before that, you mentioned these other relic hunters. Is there a time frame on this group?
I believe tonight.
Tonight.
They gave us the impression that they would not be able to make their way into the mausoleum without assistance.
Well,
They intend to break into the mausoleum then?
They do.
that works out nice and fine and dandy then. Well, I assume you guys were supposed to help them, right?
That was the offer that they made.
Yep.
So here's the thing. You don't show up to help them. They can't get in, but we can.
Can we?
Oh yeah, we had a nice little chat with our dwarven friend.
He seems inclined to assist you. He
He
has been rather uncooperative towards me. It may be for his own religious reasons, but I suspect it is merely because of what I am.
Yeah. He's essentially gonna tell us how to get in there on the grounds that no elves, particularly yourself, enter.
Alar's just gonna arch a brow.
We don't have to talk about him, but
What's
he was
everybody's passive?
real
perception?
specific about you.
My passive perception is a
11.
Terrible.
14.
It's not negative. It's a 10.
So 14, 11, 12, 12. You're what?
11.
11.
10 and
Save
round.
some time here. Anybody over 10?
We're,
Everybody is over 10.
I just
Except
have
for
10.
Okay. So 10. So everybody. So you guys notice this. As Brahm says, like, he seemed like he might be willing to help us. He's not letting any elves, especially you, in there. There's the briefest flicker, like, across her face. You just see a little bit in her eyes. There's this, like, intense, not quite sadness, but this sort of resolute, just sort of deep-seated, almost like pain. And in just in a moment, it's like hardened behind the professional demeanor. She says, naturally, the only reason that he is currently sitting in a cell beneath this very building is that I, like you, have come to a similar conclusion that the first and best lead that we have in this situation is to see what is inside that crypt. At best, he is a racist who, mingled with his religious convictions, wants no one to enter into that mausoleum. At worst, he is the culprit. I do not get that sense from him. But nevertheless, he has refused to cooperate. I have no desire to force our way into that mausoleum. I at least can respect his belief on that matter. There is long enough history there. But he has left me little choice. If you can convince him to let you in, all the better. If not, I will be forced to enter the tomb by force.
I think we'll be able to get him to let us in.
I think you three, you, and you, will definitely be able to convince him.
So should we head downstairs and...
Let's go have a check.
Alar's going to linger behind for a moment with the Inquisitor, and very quietly in Elvish, he will say, "We will continue to pay for the sins of our ancestors for many years to come. All we can do is the best we can."
She kind of nods, and in Elvish she returns. I have spent my life committed to the institution of this kingdom in payment of those sins, but, well, you know well enough. She kind of nods.
Am I close enough to hear that?
Do you understand Elvish?
Yep.
Yes, you do.
I guess anybody that
Anybody that speaks
Knows
Elvish
Elvish.
kind of can
Yeah,
sort of
that's why
overhear
Alar
the
was waiting for most of you to head downstairs before speaking quietly
Wasn't
with
there.
her.
She says, before you guys begin to head downstairs, she says, one of my people is currently seeing to the injuries that the sexton sustained during the attempt on his life. Perhaps let us part ways for an hour or so. Then, by all means, stop in, have a chat with him, and I will return to my camp, and I implore you, seek me out there in a few hours' time, and I shall show you what other evidence we have collected in our investigation that may assist.
Perfect.
Short rest time?
That's good.
Our thanks.
I got some other business to attend to, and I
Short rest time,
Right out
time to
there.
do some stuff, and as that happens in game, we will take that break in real life and go on our break. So, thank you guys for joining us so far in the first half of our game. We will be back in 5 to 10 minutes and continue the story where we picked up. Remember, please donate bits if you can. If you can't, please blast our link out to some people and encourage them to stop in and donate some bits.
Is the Zephyr Foundation link on?
The Zephyr Foundation link is floating around. I know it is on our Facebook and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, look us up on social media if you want to give directly to them.
Yep, and we'll make sure to we'll drop that in the chat in a little bit here. So stick around. We will be back shortly and continue where we left off. See you guys in a few minutes. Hello, welcome back. Thank you for sticking around over the course of the break while I released everybody from the shackles that I keep them chained to under the table so that they can't go pee, except during approved times.
Yep.
So when we last left off before break, the Inquisitor had asked that you give a little bit of time to one of her folks to tend to the injuries that the Sexton had sustained during the attempt that was made on his life. I just lost my entire train of thought. So she did tell you to reconvene in about an hour or so. At that time, you could go and check in with the Sexton if you wanted to. She told you to come over to her camp so that you could really all get together and kind of compare notes and clues and share what you had learned now that you're finally have gotten her to agree to stop being stubborn and work with you guys. So you have a little bit of time to kill before you're supposed to be anywhere. What is everybody doing?
After bandaging my wounds, I'm going to seek out. I'm going to head to the Blue Harpy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to seek out somebody that looks like a woodsman.
Okay.
To just find out what this darn feather is.
I'm gonna go back to the jewelry maker lady.
Okay. And there's somebody else doing.
And we're waiting on talking to the Sexton, or is that available during this time?
Towards the end of it, you could go have a chat with him if you wanted to.
Okay, I'll wait till everybody comes back to reconvene, then we'll go talk to him.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
go
I'll just wait.
pray at the
Temple.
temple.
Okay.
I'm taking a short rest during the
Cool.
during the hour.
Anybody else doing anything specific or just kind of resting?
Just waiting around.
All right. So then at the Blue Harpy, you head in. You see the kind of the usual crowd is around. Still mostly out of towners and traders and things like that who have been stuck here. Ollie. Yeah, Bert's the other one. Ollie is behind the bar again, as he is during most daytime hours. Kind of nods to you as you come in.
You'll approach. Don't suppose any of the local woodcutters or trappers or anyone is here currently?
Here, he looks around. No, this is all out of town people.
I don't
Not
suppose.
that I'm suggesting you patronize my competitor, but if you're looking for a local for some reason, the Mill Street's probably the better option.
All right. Well, far be it for me to not pay for anything, including information, without something. He'll set a copper down. Thank you very much.
You're a fair gentleman, thank you.
And he will head to the Mill Street.
All right. Meanwhile, you approach the market, which is sort of up and running again. doesn't seem to be a lot of actual trade taking place, as it had been pretty cleared out before, after the commotion caused last night. But after the arrest of the sexton and the angry mob forming outside, and the attempt on basically the murder attempt by a group of townsfolk, a lot of people have kind of convened here. Some of the shop owners and stall owners have set up to take advantage of that, but there is a lot of just sort of standing around and gossiping going on as you enter the market area.
Okay. I'm gonna go.
You do see that Rosa, the
Rosa.
kind of crafter, jewelry maker type of lady, is there.
Right. So I will make my way to her.
She sees you. Oh, hello there. Yes, you were the fellow who wanted the weird badges made, right? Yes.
Yes, I was.
Yes, I did. I did prepare something. It's not mighty professional. It's just the best I could do, though. I used some spare tin that I had lying around the house, and I managed to kind of cut it and shape it a little. Hopefully, this will do as best as I could. And she kind of shows you what she has crafted. She says, "What do you think of this?"
Adam, these are the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life.
Well, I certainly appreciate it. What was the agreed upon price then that we had said? I believe it was 50 copper for the lot of them. Does that sound right?
Sure.
That's great. Well then, I'll bundle these up for you if you'll just fetch the agreed upon amount, and we'll call it a trade.
All right.
Bundles up. Hands you a package, and takes your money, and sends you on your way.
Alrighty.
It doesn't look like tinfoil in the in-game world.
I'm gonna go back and meet up with the rest of the group.
Okay.
Hey guys, I got something for you. You ready for this? Ba-boom! There they are!
Are we supposed to take? What is this?
There's one for you.
Yeah.
There's one for you.
I feel like this is what ALR walks back. Oh, and there's one for you.
There's one for you. There's one for you.
Am I back?
Yeah.
Oh.
There's one for you. And we didn't get one for the dog because we didn't know the dog yet.
And ALR is gonna go.
I think I'll just walk away when he's trying to give it to me.
So he
I really think it was
he
a
holds
good
out the
idea.
badge, and LB like backs up.
I really think it was meant for you.
Look at that. That's
You
official as
guys-
shit.
You guys look great.
Oh no. Yeah, right. A nipple match. Acceptable.
That's a private moment between me and chat. All
Get
right.
hostage.
Some very, very homemade-looking badges provided to the group.
Very official.
Very official.
Don't look at me, I'm playing close.
I'm gonna use a minor illusion for like every 10, 15 seconds and be like, bing.
Okay. So meanwhile, this takes place. Alar, you head over to the Mill Street Inn and enter there. There's similarly to what Brahm experienced in the market. There's a number of folks who are in here. The talk of the town seems to be the goings-on that occurred a few hours ago at the Inquisitor's camp with the arrest and the sexton and everything else.
Just scanning the room. Is there anyone that he'd look at it and go, yeah, that guy looks like he makes a living out.
Oh, sure.
For
Make
traffic.
make an investigation check.
Let's see, 12 plus 18.
You do see an individual at a table off to one side who is drinking with another man that you get the distinct impression that he's like, that guy's woodsy. He's got like a big beard. He's very like he's very rough looking. His clothes are like hard worn from outdoors work.
Well, he's definitely a lumberjack, and that's okay. And he's going to head over. Excuse me, sir. May I join you both?
They kind of look at you, and the woodsier one sort of like, I don't see why not.
You?
Have you see?
He'll.
Not from around here, huh?
No,
So
I'm.
we get down
Yeah, he
the bartender
holds up 3 and. No, I'm from out of town and like traders and such. Stuck here until the situation's over. I did, however, find this, and I was wondering if you might be able to tell me is this come from a bird and that's local to the area? Because when this is over, I'd like to see about finding more feathers like this. I've got a little sister, and she's crazy about bright colored feathers and the. You recognize
Where
it?
the hell did you find this?
Found it just about where the cordon began. I mean, yeah, you don't want to take off the soldiers, but
Trust me, buddy. Your sister does not want anything to do with what that came off of, and neither do you.
okay.
That's a harpy feather. It was how close you said to town?
Close to the cordon. Lying. Actually, fairly good. Deception is 14.
Okay, he rolls a 3.
Okay.
He's a little drunk. That's not right. There's.
Okay.
I know of the closest harpy nest I know of is got to be 2 days outside of town. If there's harpies that close, there's something's got them riled up.
Okay.
They don't come this close to
Well, I mean,
civilization.
there's been all kinds of crazy stuff going around close to outside the city. Maybe one of them got chased close and then ran further back into the woods.
Maybe, I don't know.
Just
Harpies are bad business.
Yeah,
buddy,
no,
take it from me.
okay. Well, I'll dispose of this quietly somewhere. Let's. No need to scare anybody.
Maybe let the sheriff know at
Oh,
least.
I believe me. I will let him know. In fact, I'd better go and do that now. He sets down some coin, drinks the drink that comes, and sets down coin to cover the drinks that came. Seriously, thank you. If I hadn't, you spared me and my sister a lot of trouble. Oh God! And he just, he makes a show of looking alarmed and just.
The two at the table kind of like exchange like a whoosh glance as you leave.
He makes sure and he gets out of eyeshot and go, well, crap. And makes a beeline back to the town hall. Okay.
And once again, the group of you are together.
Alright. Well. Alright. Thanks.
Bron like sticks one of these to you as soon as you walk in.
Thanks. And right into the pocket it goes. So, that feather that we found when we engaged those undead, that's a harpy feather.
Great.
Now, according to the woodsman I learned about this with and lied bald-faced to him to find out what it was, the nearest harpy encampment, for want of a better term, is several days away. However, it wouldn't surprise me if the undead may have caused them to become understandably agitated. And they may, this harpy may have engaged an undead and lost feather in the process. Or there might be a dead harpy out there. Or worse, an undead harpy out there.
Did you see any other feathers or evidence of?
We only found the one.
Yeah, so it's possible that, but it may also just be possible that a harpy was out hunting and lost a feather. I mean, birds lose
You
feathers.
found that feather at the same site where you
Oh wait, that was
encountered
in
the
the
zombies.
It
It was where there was a big puddle of blood soaked into the ground and a 3-pronged gouge in the earth, and where you found that shredded up backpack.
Now thinking back, it may have ambushed a harpy, and that was, I don't know, hunting, gathering, something of that nature, because we found it where that where we found that destroyed pack and the large blood stain.
Are harpies magic?
Make a nature check.
I think that's very good.
I'm sitting and shining the sheriff badge, but every time I breathe on it, there's smoke coming off.
That is a natural 20, 22.
Nice. You know that harpies are not strictly speaking magical in the sense that an enchanted thing is magical or something like that. They are beasts, but they do possess the ability to tap into a sort of mystical. They have this song basically that is kind of like a siren song type of deal that lulls prey into this sort of pseudo enchanted state, making it easier for them to then swoop in and go for the kill. But not such in the sense that going off of what you know so far, you would think a harpy would attract these things if they're seeking out stuff that's giving off magical auras and stuff like that.
Okay.
When he describes the pack that they found,
You guys still have it, I believe.
Oh, okay. It's probably among the bag. So he breaks out the bag and
It's an Eeylore's bag of mystery.
is that something a harpy would wear? Or does it sound like the harpy ambushed someone wearing the pack?
That's
More likely that the harpy ambushed somebody wearing the pack. Harpies are, for all intents and purposes, beasts. They have a very rudimentary. This is all information that Kel knows. A very rudimentary, sort of cruel cunning as these predatory creatures, but they don't build buildings or wear clothing or craft tools or anything like that. They're very smart, very deadly pseudo female humanoid shaped hunters, essentially.
Is there anything in the pack to say who owned it? Do you think-
Traveling items.
it just, yeah, the sort of stuff that someone that is traveling between towns might have. A little bit of rations, a few odds and ends, nothing.
Do you think the traveler that went missing was because of the harpy?
I think we should worry about one thing at a time.
It may be related, it may be complete coincidence. We'll bring it up with the Inquisitor. It's best that I make sure everybody has as much information as possible, just in case there's a connection.
Alright.
So you guys ready to head to the...
With the exception of, let's keep you in the back pocket, shall we?
Head back down to the Inquisitor camp and get our stuff back?
Was that the first time she spoke in front of us?
In front of you,
Yeah.
I think.
Wait. Hold that thought.
We got places to be. Come on.
No. He tries to pull me away, and I just like.
You don't
Stay
even
my
know.
ground.
You don't even notice.
Yeah.
That dog just.
No.
Yep. Could be.
Baby.
Puppy, speak.
I have a magical bird. I don't know why you're surprised it's a talking dog.
I'm a talking dog. Everyone just has to get over the surprise.
Nula's jaw is just like on the floor.
Don't breathe too heavy, please.
This is amazing!
Look, you know as well as I do that anything magical tends to get people very riled up. I don't want to see LBD get snatched up by the Inquisitor or the Mythlindian Home Guard to be taken back as they're going, well, how did this happen? So, for everybody's safety, most of all LBDs,
Shut your dragon yapper.
that, but a little bit nicer.
Nula puts out her shield. I will protect this dog with my life.
Just start wagging my tail.
Right there.
I've only known this dog for 5 minutes, but if anything happens to it, I'll kill all of you and then myself.
That's a
We
great
all
show.
take a very deliberate step away from Nula.
And I'll take a deliberate step toward Nula.
Alright. Okay. We will head to the Inquisitor's camp. Alar is going to try and keep a quiet eye out for the 3 relic hunters, since they probably kind of stand out.
Are we going to the camp? I thought it was in the basement.
There's
Sexton's in the
two
basement.
places
Oh,
you
so
can
let's
go.
let's speak with the
get their
sextant
stuff
first. Shouldn't we speak with the sextant first, then get the stuff, then?
I mean,
Let's get their stuff in case bad things happen.
I'm fine in any order.
I thought she said talk to him first and then go meet with her.
I think that
Kind of
was
said like do whatever you want, but
Okay.
it's up to you.
I think we can get information from him, get the stuff. That way, the Inquisitor knows what our plan is, and then we execute the plan.
that sounds much better.
I thought it was a magic.
No, there's.
As a moth or something.
I think it's a mosquito hunter. So.
So it must die.
No.
No.
We,
They'll eat mosquitoes. It's
yeah,
fine.
we want big things like that. Even though they look scary, they're
I don't
actually
know.
good.
It looks like it's just a mosquito.
You want to roll initiative?
I cast smite on the mosquito.
It was a 10.
All right.
Off
I'll
to
probably roll higher
the
than
camp, yeah?
Down to meet.
Oh, down to the sextant.
Yeah. Let's go talk to the sexton.
Okay.
See what's up.
So you head down to the jail cell. The deputy that you heard referred to as Deputy Nell kind of nods you guys past, having been present before, knowing you have permission to go down there. You head down into the basement. It is about a 2 flight of stairs, single flight landing, another single flight down into a completely stone portion of the building, which you can tell as you descend into it is no longer the newer construction of the town hall that the human settlers put here, but is the remnants of the dwarven structure that existed here before. It has been converted, the space below, into a combination of storage and holding cell area. There are 3 cells within this small kind of confined space. One of them, the closest to the stairwell, the sexton is sitting on a cot that is in there. His leg is sort of in a splint and kind of propped up on the cot with him. The central cell is empty, and in the far cell at the very back of the room, the 3 individuals who attempted to attack him and by proxy you guys in the camp earlier are locked up.
ALR will just kind of give the far cell aside, Ionel approach the cell with the sextant and ask if he can be, if the door can be opened so he can go in.
It's not a particularly large cell. You're like standing at the door. You're only like 3 or 4 feet from him.
He
I
will.
mean, you can see if you want to get like.
Yeah.
They kind of like look and you know call up the stairs and everything else sort of looks just. I suppose that's all right. Sure. Just not too long.
No, not too long, and if nothing else, so he, he doesn't have to be locked away. I understand it's for his safety, but at least see an open door for a little while.
I suppose.
I
I don't think he's behind any of this, but he is still a suspect. I understand.
That's
She comes down, she gets the ring of keys out, and she opens the door. Says, just quickly, please.
I promise.
Maybe you shouldn't be the one to talk to him.
No.
'Cause we know he's kind of racist.
Yeah. He'll he makes a point of speaking with the guard, and then he's going to kind of take a step back.
I'll gesture for the bag.
Yep.
Go and sit down across, or I guess is there 2 cots or one?
Just a cot.
Just a cot.
He's
I'll just
sitting
go
on.
sit next to him,
I'm just
and this is my group here.
I'll
like,
squeeze in as best as I can.
I'll stand by the door.
Like he's met you all. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're not in chains, so I assume that means you work things out with the Inquisitor.
For now.
For now.
Ooh, what happened to your leg?
He points to the far cell where those 3 individuals who are kind of just like they have their head down there. Good old Jennings, whose sister I performed burial rites for, deemed fit to smash my leg with a club.
Do you require healing?
Well, they've said it. I'll be hobbling around for a while, but I'm probably alright.
Can I provide 2 points of healing?
Sure.
Please.
You just kind of step forward and place your hand over the injured leg. There's the familiar thrum of golden divine energy flows from your hand into the injured appendage, and he gets sort of like, ooh, my, well, you've got the divine touch, lass. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's a rare gift to be healed by one with the power of the deities upon their side.
Oh, say nothing of it. It's a shame that a dwarf has to, and this is going to be in Dwarvish.
Mm-hmm.
Dwarf has to sit in the basement of a dwarven ruins like this.
I suppose I can't say that I don't understand. I'm obstructing an investigation after all, but I've got my principles, and it's not like my kind to go back on what we believe in.
I'll gesture with the head in the bag. This is the half that we kept. If you would like us to, we can inter it with its original body, or we can leave it in the crypt.
I don't think it came from the crypt here. By all means, it should be put back to rest at wherever it is it came from. But your guess is as good as mine as to where that is.
I know where the rest of its body is. I can bury it with that at minimum.
At the very least, I'd appreciate that.
However, that does leave us off where we last had our conversation about getting into that crypt. And you do have my word that the elf will not be entering. Though, if we take too long, she'll do it anyway.
There's also relic hunters about looking to get in there. If we don't act fast, they'll be in there.
I suppose I don't really have a choice then, do I? Either I'll let you lot in, or somebody else breaks down the door and goes in themselves, eh?
You can rest assured if we go in the right way, we can put it back the way we came.
Bollocks. Very well. I'm not unsympathetic to what's going on in this town. I don't see what this mausoleum has got to do with it, but perhaps there's something in there that will help. I don't want to see these people hurt any more than anyone else does, and the little girl's still missing. Better than an old rock-headed fool does at least a little bit of good before something worse happens. If I have your word that no elf steps foot inside the sacred place of the dwarves, I'll tell you how to get into the crypt. Aye?
You have my word.
Right. In the temple, through the main chamber, one of the back rooms. You'll know it. It's set up as my my chambers. It's got a simple bed, a simple writing desk. Slide the desk away from the wall. Count the cobblestones up from the corner. 3 to the left and 2 up. Press in on that slightly. You'll find it loose. You'll be able to twist it to the side and pull it out. There is an opening in the wall behind that. You'll be able to figure it out from there. The key required to open the door to the crypt is in there. I've never used it myself, but it was located in the ruins upon which the temple now stands. To get in, to open the door, you need that key. It's a stone piece about yay big, fits into the slot on the front of the door.
Good craftsmanship.
Aye, the doors make their stonework to last. They make it well. If you'd do me the kindness, set everything back as you left it if you can, close the door, return the key to its resting place, and God's be willing, perhaps something in there can help you.
Hopefully you'll see soon that we put it back as
Aye.
best we can. Yourself.
We will be as respectful as we can be to the resting place of your people.
I appreciate it, lad.
I guess go get our stuff back from.
Point of order, Sexton.
Hey,
How do we feel about half elves?
Alar kind of winces.
you sort of look, lad. I assume you know something of the history between the elves and my people.
Mm-hmm.
Dwarves have a long memory. And remember, my kind, and certainly their kind, live a long time. 1500 years it's been since the Invarian Empire collapsed. What is that to an elf? 2 generations maybe? That Inquisitor of yours. Her grandmother, perhaps, pressed her boot on the neck of my people in the name of that empire. Half-elves are not so long-lived. I may be in the minority of my people, but I am not completely devoid of the attempt to be a better person at heart. I cannot forget and I cannot forgive what the elves have done, but I try not to hold those responsible for the sins of their ancestors, so long as they are far enough removed. Eh?
Sure.
I can admit that I'm a flawed man. I'm old and I'm stuck in my ways, but he looks out to the hallways. You've done nothing but attempt to help and be kind. I will attempt to respect that in return.
And Alar will say thank you in Dwarvish.
Let's say. I know how half-breeds are treated.
On both
We're
sides
treated.
of the border.
Aye. Good luck. If you need me, I'll be relaxing on my fine luxury cot here, recuperating from my leg.
You might want
Perhaps
to
when
keep
all of
that.
this blows over, I'll get to go outside again.
You may want to keep
Inquisitors.
that leg up.
Oh, of course.
We hope to be back tomorrow with better news than we had today.
We can all only hope so. Good luck to you, lads and lasses.
Thank you.
As we walk out, I look towards the other cell and just like snort with like little puffs of smoke.
Once again, as he's leaving, Alar's just giving them the side eye.
You could say Jennings has had the fright of his life, so I don't think they're any harm anymore.
The three look sufficiently sort of. Jennings has his like legs tucked up against his chest and is just like this.
Alright, well, to the Inquisitor's camp. Eyes open, people, just in case the relic hunters are out as well.
So at this point, it's probably about 5 in the evening.
Yeah, it's a little
Give or take.
before dinner time ish. So you're heading off to the camp?
Yeah.
Alright.
Alar will make a quick stop over at the Harpy. He'll speak to you beforehand. I'd like to take a couple of gold pieces. Peace offering, bottle of wine. The
To
Inquisitor and her people.
sure.
And he'll see about picking up, nothing fancy.
Sure.
I imagine there's a local.
Easy enough. Spend a couple of gold pieces and you get a pair of standard sort of red and a white, let's say.
A fantasy red and a fantasy white.
Yes. All right.
Okay. The camp, as much as you had left it previously, the townsfolk who had been here when you guys were there last are now cleared off. There are a number of guards kind of milling about the area as they're not on a patrol somewhere else and are stationed back at the camp. Their camping cook fires are going. The tents are much in the condition that you had left them. And you are met at the entrance to the camp immediately by Abner, the very first guard that you had seen. As he kind of phrased that as, good to see you. You're here to see the Inquisitor, then.
That's the plan.
If we may.
Right. Well, follow me. I'll take you to her. Leads you back through the camp to that large tent where she had spoken to you two before. And calls in. Inquisitor Highhaven, the adventurers? I don't really know what to call you. The adventurers are here. And the voice from inside, muffled by the tent, is, send them in. And he gestures to you guys to go in and turns to go back to his post.
Alar said,
Good luck.
Thank you. And thank you.
So you guys enter in. The Inquisitor is there, sitting at her kind of desk area, writing on a bunch of papers and things. She looks up and says, right, did you speak to the sextant already?
We did. I also discovered what, and he holds out the feathers. This is a harpy feather. Now, according to a local woodsman who I told a little white lie to about where I found it, there's a harpy encampment several days travel from here. I suspect that this harpy may have attacked someone in the woods.
You see a look of, like, comprehension dawn on her face as apparently some things, like, pieced together in her mind. She says, come with me. She strides past you out of the tent, walks around her tent towards that smaller tent slightly behind where your ferret had sniffed around before. She walks directly up to the tent flaps and she turns and she says, the contents of this tent are unsettling.
Consider sworn.
And she steps inside and allows, like, for you guys to pass through as well. As you crowd in, it's a little bit of a tight fit. There is a distinct odor in the air here of similar to what you had smelled on those zombies out in the woods, of like old dried rot, mingled slightly with a little bit of a fresher scent of decay. There are 3 basically like roughly constructed wooden like long tables next to each other in the room or inside the tent, with 3 canvas sheets laid over what appears to be 3 bodies. 2 of them roughly human size and dimension. The third a squatter, stockier, more dwarven-sized lump beneath this sheet.
Alar lets out a relief breath. It's not the kid. Thank the gods, it's not the kid.
She says, no, we have not located the girl yet. It is our hope to locate her alive still. These are the victims, at least the ones we know about, of the attacks.
Alar's going to head over to the squatter dwarven one, look at the Inquisitor for permission, and pull aside the sheet.
There is much similar, with much similarity to the ones that you encountered. There is a mummified, very old-looking, desiccated dwarven corpse on the table, bearing more recent signs of trauma, slash marks, bludgeon marks. As you peel it back, she says, "This we encountered in the woods to the east of here some days ago.
We encountered 2 more also there.
We are unsure of their numbers. We apprehended this one and were able to dispatch of it, and we brought it here for safekeeping." And as she kind of says this, she gestures, and you see its arms and legs are both like bound to this table. And she says, "It, we believe, is dead for good at this point, but we are taking no chances."
Nor should you. We thought we dispatched one of them 2, 3 times before it finally went down for good.
We had a similar experience.
Do you lose anyone
No, thankfully. That was a close one. But I was able to intervene in time, and I had to call upon the divine to strike the creature down and keep it down, finally.
Well, good thing we have you coming along with us then.
No pressure, no pressure at all.
He will recover the body and move to the middle one and draw
She helps you like flip the sheet back. This one is much, in a way, much more unsettling than the first one, as this is a rather fresh-looking corpse. It is a middle-aged looking human man. He is wearing like traveling clothes, essentially, and his body looks like it was like pulverized by clubs or something like that. You can see there's like basically dents in his chest cavity where his like ribs are crushed, and a big like divot in the top of his head indicates where what likely killed him was something that just like crushed his skull in. She says, she points and she says, "This is a man that we have identified as Jeremiah Wilkin."
That's the second one that went missing, yes?
Indeed. An out-of-towner. We don't know why he was out in that direction from town.
Ayla, pack.
Alar sets down the bag that he's been carrying with him. I took the head of one of the dwarves. I also recovered a pack from where I found the harpy feather. I don't know whether it belongs to this man, or it was it was someone who was attacked by the harpy.
She kind of looks, and she looks at the markings on the pack, which clearly has been rent by something slashing, and she says, "Difficult to say, but my instinct tells me that this is not from Mr. Wilkin."
Means someone else who was there, probably a traveler as well. I don't know whether no one from the town has noted anybody missing besides
Right.
the two and the child. So it may have been somebody who was traveling here.
I will, she takes the patches, "I will have my men bring this around to see if anybody recognizes who might be the owner of it."
By all means,
She points again to Welkin. She says, "This, when you mentioned harpies, the unfortunate Mr. Welkin here, his injuries are consistent with what we have learned of what we understood to be happening, these undead creatures, the bludgeoning of these brutes."
Oh, believe me, I'm somewhat acquainted.
The missing piece, however, that was confusing me, was this. And she peels back the third sheet, and there is a much older, kind of rail-thin, mostly bald with liver marks all over his scalp individual. He is... they've covered like his lower half with just like a piece of cloth to preserve whatever modicum of modesty the corpse might be able to retain, but he is otherwise naked, and his body has been like practically rent asunder, and as you kind of look, it's like a little hard to look at, but you can see there are these triple slashes in all sorts of directions all over his body. She says, "This was the first victim."
Might be unrelated, might not be. Fortunately, there's not enough information.
She sort of looks, she says, "I had been operating under the assumption that this first victim came upon the culprit of these activities, this necromancer, if that is what is at the end of this, perhaps before they had summoned forth their first monstrosity. and that these wounds were inflicted by another individual with a bladed weapon, as it was inconsistent with what we had seen since, and all other indications afterwards seemed to point to these creatures being behind this. It was the primary reason that I was forced to look at the sexton as the potential culprit. He was the only possibility that I saw as one who potentially had access to such. She gestures to the dwarven zombie corpse.
Yes.
To such things and could potentially be behind this. But if you say you found that feather, which has been identified as a harpy feather, at another attack site, it is perhaps likely that our first victim wasn't killed by these creatures at all, but by a harpy. I cannot say how that might be related, but
It may not be, or it may be tangentially related. If you said that you've encountered several of these dwarven undead, and we encountered them also in that area of the forest, they may also be encroaching in the harpy territory, so they may be stepping up patrols to protect themselves, and they may have found that poor bastard whose pack is there, not to mention...
And you said you had spoken to a local who had some information on where nearby harpy nests might be.
He was at the Mill Street Inn. Tall fellow human, very long beard, ruffian clothes. I did not get his name.
Right. Well,
You may want to send inform the sheriff and have him go speak with him. Not so much because of trust issues, but also I told him that I'd be speaking with the sheriff in the story that I gave him, and so that would follow, and the sheriff can report to you.
it is certainly a solid lead. Perhaps not enough to pinpoint the location of our troubles, but something to start with. We still need to see inside that mausoleum. The sexton was cooperative with you?
Mm-hmm.
He gave us his permission.
We had to give him our word that no elves would enter. I understand that's a touchy subject.
Proud fool.
However, I don't believe. Well, I never believe anything. Perhaps you could stand guard outside while it's open to ensure nobody else comes in.
I think that is
And give
well within the word that you gave, without being unreasonable.
And should we fail to return, then for the safety of the people,
I will do what I can to respect the sexton's wishes, but that only goes so far when the line of duty is concerned. I am willing to allow you to enter and investigate on my behalf.
if you
I will accompany you and remain outside unless it is necessary that I do otherwise.
you understand.
Isn't that other group supposed to be trying to mess around tonight?
Yep, that's why we need people outside.
Then
Fair point.
we should probably do so while there's still sun.
I see no reason not to proceed with this immediately. There is a missing little girl at the end of all of this.
Yes.
I would rather not dally about any longer than necessary.
No
Then we
objections
are
here.
all agreed. We will retrieve the key, and we will go from there.
Very well. I shall meet you outside the temple in, let us say, 20 minutes' time.
Thank you.
Excellent. And as you guys turn to leave...
Alar. A peace offering
she sort of...
for you and your soldiers.
When the task here has been complete, I shall share it with my men and women as hopefully a celebratory offering.
Maybe so.
Let's go find that girl.
As you guys turn to leave, she like holds up a hand. Fine. Just go. She just waves you out with like an air of like, God, why? What have I gotten into with these people?
I told you no one could argue with the badge.
I don't think it's can. It's at this point she just
doesn't want to. Let's just respect the badge.
and at this point Alar's just kind of
You
choked.
can't argue with his results.
Don't encourage him.
We're gonna head to the temple and follow the sexton's instructions. Alar will take a moment before opening it and check for traps. And he doesn't expect one, but caution from
Sure. Go ahead and
years
make a
of
Is this a crypt or to get the key?
to get the key. Let's see, investigation. Well, that's only
Bear trap in the wall.
that's only a 13.
So you guys make your way across. You enter into the temple, following his instructions, heading back to the chamber that you find as his, what appears to be his quarters. You shift the desk aside, find the appropriate stone, and Alar kind of works at it a little bit, finding it loose as indicated, and you proceed to sort of very carefully kind of take it out, looking for any switches or pressure plates or anything like that in the wall. Finding nothing, you pull a single brick loose, and you see inside the hollow that remains there is what appears to be a almost like a switch or a lever carved into the very stone itself.
Okay.
Only about yay big.
He will shift the switch and find out which way it moves, and then
You just like kind of thumb down on it, and there is an immediate sound from within the walls of this room, coming from sort of below you, of like and very smoothly a section of the wall slides down, revealing a alcove, only perhaps 2 feet by 2 feet, and within it you see a religious icon of some sort. It is what appears to be a almost like a silhouette of a mountain, and there is a single gemstone, a single emerald gemstone set into it.
history check.
Religion. Newly, you
21.
can definitely make that check as well. 21?
Mm-hmm.
9.
9. Newly, you know that's definitely a symbol of a one of the old dwarven pantheon, but you're not. It's not coming to mind. You, however, Alar, recall that this is the religious symbol of Dumathoin, one of the old dwarven deities, and the deity of basically like the protector of the those who dwell within deep places in the mountains. One of the dwarven deities that were basically illegal under the Invarian rule.
I've only seen a rubbing on this design. That's Duathoin, guardian of the deep places of the dwarves.
Is there like a key hanging above it? Or?
So as you look below that icon, there is a small kind of curvature to the rock as it extends out and then goes down into the floor with a little lip, and upon that lip sits a kind of like a ridged circular piece, which you recognize immediately as matching the shape that you had seen in the inset of the door to the mausoleum outside. That just seems to be sitting there.
Should I be the one who grab it?
Yeah. Male Arrow saying Dwarven. Apologies for disturbing.
My equals.
Pluck it. Nothing dramatic happens. You just pick it up. It's heavier than it looks like it would have been. It looks to be stone from what you can see, but you like. It seems very heavy.
I will suggest that once the door is open, I should probably take the lead. I've entered into a couple of dungeons before, and particularly dwarven ones are well trapped. I have a little bit of experience with locating them and disabling them if necessary.
I'm sure the ancestors aren't going to be pissed that a half-elf is walking through there.
I think they're going to be pissed that anybody who's not a dwarf is going to be in there.
Well, I meet that description, so guess we're pissing off all the dead.
Hopefully, Duathwin will understand.
To save the living.
Duathwin was a protector, so long as we go with that in mind and not with, shall we say, acquisition, we should be fine.
Let's go find that girl.
Indeed.
Do we have our stuff back?
Yes, you received it at the.
Hooray!
You're geared up again.
All right.
When you emerge from the temple, the Inquisitor is standing out there. She has come alone, it seems. She nods to you. I have instructed the soldiers under my command to continue patrol routes around the perimeter of the town and throughout its streets. I think that the group of us should be more than adequate to this task. In the event that there is other danger about, I do not wish the people of the town to be unprotected.
Fair.
A wise precaution.
Let us proceed quickly then. And she kind of sets herself about 15 feet back from where this mausoleum is and kind of just stays out of the way to wait for you guys to do your work.
Take the stone, look at it, and then
And just and you feel like
righty-tighty, lefty-loose.
you just like twist and it turns quarter turn and there's a secondary like and then a very slight as the whatever locking mechanism was holding these stone doors open creaks apart, creating a gap large enough for you to then like so you basically end up get your fingers in there, you're able to slide. They slide as if on like a track to about 6 inches wide and then lift out just like a pair of like cellar doors. Because you remember this mausoleum is like mostly set into the ground. And as you like open these heavy stone doors, you are looking down into a carved stone staircase that descends maybe 10 feet fairly steeply, and then you see a sort of just a stone floor and the opening of what appears to be a slightly larger chamber at the base.
Does it feel like it's been open recently?
Didn't seem like it. It was pretty like
So the air that comes up is very stale.
very stale, very like musty in here.
Sincere doubts that the girl is in here,
No, but
but
this may not be the only entrance. Let's
Clear it, see what we can
let's
find.
investigate, and if nothing else, we can assure the Inquisitor and the Sexton that this
And
place
get
had
him
nothing to do
out
with
of
it.
jail.
Yes.
at best, or at worst, it'll clear his name.
Yes. At best, we find something deep within, and most important of all, the child. Alar will draw his rapier and very cautiously head down, looking for tripwires, obvious pressure plates, that sort of thing.
Okay. Go ahead and make your investigation check.
That is 17 plus 5, 22.
All right. So, very slowly and very carefully, Alar works his way down the steps, keeping his eyes peeled for anything that he thinks seems out of place or odd looking. And after what seems to be an excruciating amount of time waiting for him to descend down, he finally reaches the bottom of this set of steps and finds himself standing directly in front of a moderately sized room entirely of stone with a single defining feature in the center of it, which is a rectangular, almost like a sarcophagus looking thing with a stone lid atop of it. Standing behind it is a rather large statue of a like an oversized looking dwarven figure wearing ornate armor and holding a downward pointing hammer, which like rests at its feet, and it basically stands like a funeral monument over this sarcophagus. The floor of the chamber is otherwise flat and devoid of any decoration. You can see there is what appears to be some sort of carvings or relief etchings on the walls, but it is very dark down here, and you really can't make out much more than that without entering in and bringing some illumination down with you.
Alar's gonna... I'll need some light.
Dancing lights down in there.
Thank you.
Just hang on Baylor.
The area is slightly illuminated, and you're able to see a little better. There are definitely these like motifs carved around the circular interior of this room, depicting what appear to be various scenes of like dwarven life and dwarven society.
And Alar's just gonna look around and kind of smile, because this is kind of what he lives for. Right. The child. He's gonna then look around the floor and carefully approach. Once again, looking for traps. And probably rolling a lot more terribly. Yeah, that one's only a 14 as he approaches the sarcophagus.
Okay. There is a heavy, flat, unadorned lid atop of it. It is otherwise completely devoid of carvings, etchings, ornamentation of any type. What are the rest of you guys doing at this point as Alar clears the stairwell and moves into this chamber?
Follow Alar, but ask, like, isn't it weird that there's only one tomb here? I was imagining, like, a village.
I was as well, but I'm guessing that this is...
So everybody else wants to.
Yeah,
Still
I'm
more-
in line of sight of Alar, so I can keep the lights floating
Yeah.
around.
I'm guessing this is probably someone of note. the depictions on these reliefs are of dwarven life, and that, he points to the statue, your average villager is going to have something like that stationed next to their burial chamber. This is possibly a nobleman, possibly a holy person.
Gonna use the dancing lights and just go around the perimeter, see if there's any cracks or voids.
Yeah, make an investigation check.
10.
You find no breaks in the wall anywhere. It seems to be a single sealed chamber. The only way in or out being that staircase.
Given
I think there is no way this has anything to do with the rest of what's going on in the town. So I really think we should seal this back up and let the dead rest.
I do want to get a close look at the statue. I promise I'm not going to touch anything or take anything from it, but that is there for a reason, and taking a moment to try and ascertain why isn't too terrible a thing, I hope. Investigation 18 as he approaches the statue and carefully looks it over.
What first appeared to be a single solitary carved stone effigy of some sort, as you look closely at it, you see that at its joints there are like creases, essentially, as if it is capable of being manipulated or bending or repositioning at joints of the arms, the elbows, the wrists, fingers, even its like its stone. You see a crease behind the stone neck, hips, legs, as if this were capable of being maneuvered in some way.
This thing can move. The joints, they're capable of movement.
What are you doing at this point, Kel, as you are in an archaeological site,
So-
and this is sort of your realm?
given my background, would I have any kind of familiarity with something like this? Like what most dwarven tombs are like, and what might be different about this one?
Make a
Or-
history check.
I'm gonna turn to Oz and be like, that thing's coming to life, right? That's what's gonna happen here.
More than likely.
That is a 23.
Okay. So, there are two things that you immediately recognize. The statue, though you are not necessarily as familiar with the dwarven forms of this practice, you know that it is not an uncommon thing in certain tombs to have a statue like this. There is almost a myth that in certain tombs of places where either the individual who is buried there or something about the site is important or sacred in some way or deserving of special protection by whatever powers a particular, whatever, in this case, like dwarven, whatever particular culture it is, might hold sacred, to put a statue of a similar design in, and to invoke something that is referred to as an eidolon spirit, which is basically a spirit that will dwell within the sacred place and protect it from any who would come and seek to rob the tomb, do harm to the sacred site, anything like that. You have never heard specific stories of whether this is anything more than sort of an ancient belief that these old civilizations used to put these statues in here, believing that these spirits would come down and take possession of them to drive out invaders. Whether that's anything more than just a story, but that is your best guess as to what this is.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Based on like what the images on the walls look like, do I have any idea how old this is?
So that was the second thing that I was going to tell you notice. The images on the walls. You notice two things. The first is that they actually seem to tell a story as you go around the chamber. They seem to tell a story of a particular individual who is represented as one of the dwarven figures carved in almost every one of these motifs. And it seems to tell a story of an individual who spent a great deal of their life traveling from dwarven settlement to dwarven settlement in the region and helping. It's unclear as to exactly what function they did, but they seem to be a figure who was helping these various small pockets of dwarven population throughout a region over the course of their life, as they suffered under the boot of what you take to be representations of agents of the Invarian Empire. So that gives you a rough estimate that this crypt is at the very least probably 1,500 to 2,000 years old. The second thing you notice as you're looking at some of these, and you start to look at the depictions of mountain ranges and topography that is shown in some of these dwarven settlements that are depicted here that this figure had visited, you recognize some of the rock formations, some of the mountain formations, as similar to the mountain formations in the region that you are currently inhabiting. You're actually able to piece together a few general locations. You see one of the tableaus depicts a mountain range with a particular shape that you recognize from the stone mill skyline as a range of peaks that is off to the east of the town a ways. You actually are able to identify 3 such locations from these etchings that you think you are familiar with, like the topography matching up with areas around here. You can't be very specific, but it gives you like a decent sort of bearing on where maybe there are some other dwarven ruins or ancient settlements in this vicinity.
I don't think we're gonna find what we're looking for here. I don't think we'll mess with things too much. Is there at least the possibility that there's a guardian spirit?
I was figuring that this would be some sort of manual trap, but as curious as I am as to see what's in that sarcophagus, I do not wish to risk divine wrath or the more mundane wrath.
No, nothing I know says whether there's any truth to the dwarven myths of protective eidolons, but I am not interested in finding out. The good news, if we can call it that, is that there are at least 3 settlements nearby.
Which means there
used to be 3 settlements nearby.
Which means there's
means
probably dwarven burial grounds in at least one of them, and that's where those undead came from.
Right.
Yeah, there's going to take a long moment and try and commit each of the reliefs to memory.
So the information that you guys are able to pull from this, there are
Walter's gonna do the same. Just try to
Yeah.
use the lights and get an idea what's up.
so you pick out 3 specific locations that you think are likely locations of dwarven settlements that you recognize as potentially being in the area. All 3 of them that you're able to pick out, you are fairly certain are like in a generally easternly direction from where you currently are. One of them sort of a little more to the north. One of them directly east. And a third that is a little more to the like smack between the two, like northeasterly.
So north.
All sort of
northeast
like
and
as you're creeping up into the mountains rather than south towards what is now Midland Day. Still likely you're talking days or weeks of searching without further information on how to pinpoint more exactly where you might need to search, but certainly more than you had to go on before.
So we have a starting point. We also have a native of this region in the Sexton. While he may not know specifically of other rooms, might have heard stories.
He said he wasn't aware of anywhere else these bodies could be coming from. But maybe they're coming from far enough away that it wouldn't have occurred to him. But then what's making them come all this way?
Something or someone is animating these creatures to find magic. They're drawn to magic. They were probably drawn to the little girl because she either had an item that was magical or she had some talent. May not have even manifested yet, but she may have some sorceress talent of some kind. So
Why don't we get the woodsman to show us on the map where the harpy nest is, to the best of his knowledge, and see if we can guess if that's close to where one of these sites are.
the Inquisitor may also have Mythlindian maps
Oh, that's fair.
of. It would stun me if there's not some sort of scouting map or something similar that if they don't have here, they have access to that we might be able to get fairly quickly.
Bartok may be able to point us to a dwarven historian.
That as well.
Alright, let's get out of this crypt.
Make sure we seal it on the way back out.
Oh yes. Don't try not to touch anything on the way out.
Before we leave, I will detect magic for the sake of thoroughness.
Sorry, what?
Detect magic.
You detect a faint aura of magic coming from within the coffin.
I get like a school or something
Yes.
that focus on it or something like that, right?
Am I going to defile the grave for money?
Of course I am.
Yeah.
I believe, let me just double check this, I believe it is enchantment magic.
As a current or former gravekeeper, I would strongly discourage us from trying to find out exactly what's in there.
I mean, as long as it's not necromantic.
It is
I'm
not
not worried about
necromantic. It is enchantment magic. No, I'm sorry. I'm incorrect. Ba-ba-ba-ba.
Could be anything.
Give me a second.
Could be.
I'm trying to find
It's
the...
evocation magic. Everything explodes.
Disney magic.
No, don't say the D word. No. We're demonetized.
And we've just all been served cease and desist orders.
You better knock that D&D shit off. Oh!
You're in trouble now.
copyright infringement. We want to get in.
I can't do the Donald Duck voice anymore. I'm
We
sorry.
should probably wait.
Not
At
after the
least a couple
accident.
Not after the incident.
Transmutation magic is what you sense from within there.
Alright. Well, Alar's gonna notice him casting a spell. What? Did you find anything?
There's something in there, but it's not necromantic. So,
What'd you find?
I mean, all I know is that there's transmutation magic. So it's not
Changing
necromantic.
something to something else, or enhancing ability.
Presumably, this is the tomb of some kind of important leader. Presumably, they were buried with some other stuff, but it's not necromantic. It's not involved in our research. So for now, I think we leave the dead.
We should certainly keep our word.
Yeah, no, believe me, I'm inordinately curious, but no, he stretched his neck far enough, letting me come in. I'm not gonna.
So again, if
But-
Bartek can point us to some kind of historian, who could maybe give us more information. I would love to know more about it, but
Well, we can also, at the very least, tell him about what we found as well. He's never been down here.
Maybe old, like children's stories of heroes of old.
All right.
Those-
Well, let's.
let's lock it up.
All right. Everybody out. Let's go. Alar will be last. He's kind of giving it a long look around. Also, he half expects this is when the gigantic ball of doom is supposed to fall and start rolling toward him, and he'll exit the tomb and make sure it gets closed back up.
I'm like looking at Alar, Dekel. The Alar, Dekel would be like a chaperone. I gotta get that kid.
Alar's just gonna kind of blink at you a couple times.
I know.
Not to interrupt the sexual tension, but can we get out of here?
Yes.
I know when it's not time to take things.
Good. Good.
He takes the stone from me. Wow, that is heavy. And he'll shut one door, shut the other, shift them back into place, and
All right. So, as you guys make your way back out and begin to leave, who's the last one out the door here? As you guys go up,
Alar was the one that shut and locked
Yeah.
it.
you're shutting them. Like as you guys were like leaving the chamber, who was the first one to leave the chamber? The last one to
the
leave the
first-
chamber.
the last to leave was me.
Okay. Everybody kind of like files out. You kind of give your last look. You begin to descend up the stairs. And as you get to the top, you begin to like close the doors and you're kind of looking back down within. You can't be sure, but you could almost swear that you had seen just the briefest glow of this sort of like bluish interspersed with goldenish light flare very slowly and very dimly within the eyes of this statue, and then wink back out as you close the doors.
Alar kind of stops what he's doing for a moment, then very deliberately and slowly. Right. That theory? Probably true.
Alright. You guys turn, the Inquisitor kind of is looking at you expectantly. Well, you didn't come out swords and spells blazing, so I assume things went perhaps at least informatively down there?
It was a whole lot of nothing.
I wouldn't say nothing. This is definitely a tomb of a single noteworthy dwarven individual. The relief carvings denoted several dwarven ruins nearby. So I assume that since this held only one sarcophagus and not
Plethora.
a village's worth, this has little to do with it, but those carvings depict other dwarven towns and settlements. One of them probably is where the undead are coming from. They appear to be not too far away, several days. Does Mythal, do you have maps of this area and noted ruins? Scouting reports?
I think it's unlikely that, no offense, that you're going to have maps that have old dwarven ruins.
It is very unlikely.
In the mountains, they're not going to be found unless they want to be found.
I'm just thinking of scouting reports of unusual rock formations or signs of, previous.
Anything is worth a try. We can certainly see what I have back at my camp. But that seems a long shot. Perhaps there is some other way of narrowing the search fields.
I would like to believe that Bartek might be able to give us more information now that we have more specific questions, or at least point us to someone who might know. Presumably there's some scholars of dwarven history who might know what kind of settlements were in the area.
If nothing else, we can strike off toward the east, toward where we found these undead creatures, and see if we can start trailing them that way. Something, they have to be coming from somewhere. And that they appear to be all coming from the east, so I would also consider stationing a guard close to the temple.
If your fellow relic hunters intend to attempt to break into this temple this evening, I shall be sure that proper authorities are there to meet them. Well, for now I must think.
If you wish, I can conjure the images that we saw down there. Whether you or anyone on your staff can draw any conclusions.
Yes. If you would be so kind as to return to the camp, then we can take care of that, and then I think perhaps attempt to plan our next move for. She looks at the quickly darkening sky. The next time there is sunlight for this evening, I think it is best we prepare ourselves for whatever is to come from those woods.
We should keep the key with us.
Oh, yeah. I fully intend to return it to the sextant. And where he is now is quite safe.
Indeed. For the time being, it is probably best that he stay in the town hall. It is clear enough that he is not involved. At least, it seems more likely that that is the case, but after one attempt on his life was already made, it is better that he stay under custody for now.
Well, if you can go back into the temple and put everything back.
I go in the temple.
Very well. If there's nothing else, I will return to camp. Master Ayla, I shall see you shortly, and we can reconvene in the morning to discuss what to do next.
Once you get back, Aylar is going to give you back the key. I think this should probably go back to the sexton. Tell him everything, and take Kel with you. I think he should definitely hear what
We found.
Yes, even if
I never just want to put it back.
Should absolutely give it back to him.
if the relic hunters
You just put it back in the.
if the relic hunters manage to bypass the guards, I don't want them to have easy access to
The sexton is the first place they're going to look.
these. They are not going to risk the Mithlindian home guard and the sheriff.
The tomb is being guarded by a Mithlindian inquisitor.
How about I carry it to the sexton and then I ask him if he wants to keep it, or if I should return it.
Decent enough compromise, but I don't want it back there where there's no one in the temple protecting it.
I go and the sexton.
I will head straight to the camp.
All right. Well, as you guys begin to go your separate ways to do your various things, and then prepare to take what I believe might be the first uninterrupted night of sleep you've had in the past 2 or 3 days since you've been here.
Oh yeah, ALR is probably his bloodshot is all
That
get
is
up.
that is a good place to stop for the night and call an end to this episode. So, good session, everybody. Thank you at home for joining us. Let us pass out papers to vote for the Golden D20. Chat, if you would like to cast a vote for any of the players at the table you think deserve the Golden D20 for next week, please type it in there and let me know. Otherwise, thank you for joining us for episode 5 of Tabletop Legends. Episodes 1 and 2 are currently available on YouTube. 3 and 4 will go up in the next few days. And this episode that just streamed tonight, if you missed part of it or want to watch it again for some reason, will go up next Monday before our live stream of episode 6 on Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. right here on Proficiency Bonus. Thank you to Proficiency Bonus for hosting us. Thank you to our sponsors, the Twitch affiliate program, Team MZ, Many-Sided Dice, that's alright, yeah, I gotta make sure I hit all the Streamlabs, I don't know if I said that one. And, in fact, our presenting sponsor, the 8th House and Marble Moon Studios, an independently and ethically sourced witchy lifestyle home goods shop. Find them online at marblemoonstudio.com or shopthe8thhouse.com. That is 8th with the number 8, not spelled out like the word. They have a whole bunch of awesome witchy lifestyle, cool stuff for sale that you can buy online. Apparel, home goods. I believe they have... what do you call those things that you light them on fire and they wave them around your house? Incense and like things that like chase ghosts out of your house. I don't remember anything.
Herbs.
Like cleansing herbs.
And most important of all.
And mugs. You can buy the Tabletop Legends Magic AF mug on their website for, I want to say, like $15, something like that. $15. Please do so. We love them, and we want you to love them too. Last call as we wrap up here tonight for some last-minute bit donations. We will be tallying everything up in a few over the next few days and coming up with our final donation for the Zephyr Foundation. I don't want to speak too soon, but I think we may have come close to $1,000. Maybe. I don't know. We got at least 700, we know that, and there's more to be accounted for still. Thank you guys for everything over the course of this month. Thank you to the other hosts of the other shows who have been helping promote the Zephyr Foundation, and look forward to the video that we're going to shoot with them, showing off their awesome business and their awesome nonprofit and all the stuff that they do. So, without me yapping anymore, let us knock out... Huh? Oh, we're not done. Okay, well, I'll start knocking out votes here.
Can you break power breaks over there?
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Alright. The novel being
This
constructed.
vote is a recap of the entire session.
6 pages double spaced.
We're gonna know which one is Becca's. It's the one that takes me 3.5 minutes to read. Alright.
Mix it up.
So, I have a vote for Osrius for waiting and skipping stones.
Oh, hey.
I have another vote for Osrius for whatever. I'ma sit on a bridge.
Oh, okay. I didn't do anything.
I have
You
a
played your
vote,
character.
vote for Brahm for badges.
A boat for
A
Brahm?
vote for Brahm for badges.
Is it a boat for Brahm?
No,
You
you
don't
don't
get
get
a
a vote.
I have a vote for Alar for respectful interactions with the dwarf and controlling his adventuring and I think that might say discovery excitement. It was super long and I couldn't read most of it.
That was certainly a vote.
I have a vote for Walter for being the human defibrillator.
I'll take it.
I have a second vote for Walter for accidentally killing a guy but bringing him back so nicely. And I have a third vote for Walter for Houdiniing his way out of cuffs, murdering someone, saving them, and sassing the Inquisitor in the span of a minute. Which means Walter wins the golden D20 for next
Like
session.
keep rolling really low or like middling.
Thank you all for joining us. Please go find us on YouTube, subscribe, toss proficiency bonus, subscribe. We've only been doing this for 4 hours. It's not like I'm exhausted from talking. Subscribe to everything. Just do it. I love you, but not in a weird way. Good night. Bye.
Bye.